Good afternoon, guys. It's me, Ashley. I'm here to provide you with some content, a video lecture on English practicals for term 3, essentially a review of what you need to have finished, completed by the end of this month, March 2020, so lessons 1 through 6. Now, without the face-to-face lessons, that makes our attendance requirement a bit tricky. We have decided collectively as the English practicals teachers to come up with an assignment that would complete the rest of this term, and we will reassess the situation after term 3 is complete as we go into term 4. And we have some more clarity from the government on the coronavirus COVID-19 situation, if we know whether term 4 will include face-to-face lessons or not, and that may affect the format of the final exam as well. So when we have that information for you guys, we will provide it. Please bear with us in the meantime, and at least now up through the end of this term, you will know what to do. Your submissions for these assignments, as we assign them, will count as your full attendance. Now, weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4 are work normal lessons. My groups had lessons on Thursdays, so your first 4 lessons were regular attendance, regular format, and then the next 2, 5, and 6 would be done only digitally. And if you did not complete the assignments on time for lesson week 4 or 3 or 2 and you weren't present in week 1, then you may want to look at the assignment for doing weeks 4, 5, and 6 digitally so that you can get those assignments up to speed, because it would be nice if you could enter term 4 already having completed your required 6 lessons. But at any rate, you will have the opportunity in term 4 to submit more assignments if needed, or to come to class to get those attendance requirements. So what is asked of you guys at this point? I did send an update via journals asking you guys just to submit what I assigned last week, to do it digitally though instead, and that we would do that each week as we discussed in class last week. But after I had sent that in the evening and the next morning, Tuesday morning, the English teachers came together and decided that we would all do the same assignment because different teachers wanted to do different things. So we all collectively agreed on one set assignment for all of the classes, and that has been posted as an announcement on the main Blackboard page. So we will go through that momentarily, and then we will go through the module guide just to catch us up to speed to see the content that you should have prepared by now. So I'm going to make myself a little smaller here. And now we are on the practicals main page. So 2019 English practicals, announcements. We will scroll down to the announcement from yesterday afternoon at 12:30. From Maria Pau. She gave an introduction explaining what we expect from you guys. You will work in your groups, your team A or team B, as we divided you up as of Thursday last week, our last lesson, both of my groups. You guys all knew which group you were in class, so if there are any students who are absent or who are unsure about what they're supposed to do, then you can attend my live stream lesson tomorrow on YouTube, or you can post a comment below, or you can post in journals to ask me a question saying, I don't know which group I am in, could you please let me know? Because I believe most of the content is clear then in final exchange with the groups. However, there was some switching around, and we had come to a conclusion in class last week, but I'm not sure whether there are any students that were absent that maybe got lost along the way. So if there are any stragglers, just make sure to contact me. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. This situation is unprecedented, so all of us are just trying to navigate something new here. So make sure that if you're struggling, contact me, reach out to me in advance. It makes it much easier for us to plan than if you come after all the deadlines and explain your situation after the fact. Okay, and even if it's just to say that you're not well enough to do any work right now, please let me know now so I know in advance that you won't be submitting work. Okay, so all of this information is clearly here for listed for you guys. How do you do that? You need to post your content, your video, in-class blogs. I know that we've been working in journals until this point, but I want to remain on the same page as the rest of the English Practicals groups. So we will, from this point forward, week 5 onward, be using the class blogs. Unless we go back to face-to-face lessons, we will do all future work in class blogs. So if you have already posted something in journals for weeks 5 and 6, please make sure to move it over or duplicate it to the blogs that are posted. I will open those in a moment for you. There's instructions here on how you should name your file, and also information about the duration. So if you need still for week 4 to submit something, then you will get an extension on that deadline, and you can do a longer video, 9 to 10 minutes. If you just need weeks 5 and 6, then you can do a video of 8 minutes. If you did have a late start and you either weren't present in week 1 or you did not submit the work for lessons 2 and 3, or one or the other, then you can also go ahead and do the longer version to get 3 weeks credit, even if you already submitted a week 4 assignment, as long as it's not the same assignment and you're getting additional or other information, then you can do a longer video in order to get credit for that as well. So just to inform you guys, the deadline for uploading your video is March 30th, and then the feedback, you can start asking questions of the other students before that, but you can also do it after March 30th. The deadline for March 30th is for your videos, or your one video with the multiple weeks. And then this video here, this post from Dave van Ginhoven, has the link to his instruction video. I'm just going to open that momentarily for you guys. He has a wonderful guest star in the video, Miss Robin van Ginhoven, and he really clearly lays out.
Hi folks, this is Dave van Ginhoven. I'm here together with Robin van Ginhoven. I'm sorry that you can't see.
So here he clearly lays out in this video what you need to do. He goes step by step through all of the instructions that you need in order to follow, how to upload your video, and also here how to make it an unlisted video on YouTube so that only the people with that link in our class blogs can access it, so it's not public for the whole world to see. So make sure to check out that video to be sure that you post your assignment correctly. And this is on the left side, this green column over here, link to blogs. That is where you will need to go. So my groups, 1C and 1H. You guys will need to go to your either Team A or Team B. So 1C Team A is here, and 1C Team B Interesting. It looks like it is not here. So I will double check to make sure that it's all posted, and I will let you know if I cannot find it. I should say Teams A and Teams B on there. So I will make sure to fix that for you guys on behalf of the module manager, and if it's not a quick fix, then I will just edit the name of this, or ask her to edit the name of this, so that the whole class can do it in one go, and you have the list of people in your group, so that you can simply follow the list of people in your group, and you focus on commenting on their videos. So here on the side you have all course members, and so you can go through and see who you have in your group, and you can comment on their videos. Now the instructions state that you need to give 2 comments on each student in your group. There's about 12 students per group, so that means you have to watch 11 videos, which would take you, let's say if everybody does a 10-minute maximum video, if you have 11 videos to watch of them, so probably the maximum number of students would be 11. I think most groups are smaller than that. But if you had 11 videos of 10 minutes, that's 110 minutes then that you have to watch, and that's about appropriate, because you also then have to make up for at least 2 different classes, which would be 90 minutes. And then that would give you about 40 minutes to ask the questions on each student's video. So you need to post those questions, and then you need to answer the questions that are posted below your video as well. I think it'll end up being exactly the amount of time, or roughly exactly the amount of time that you would need in order to participate in class. So it seems like a lot, but remember, this is for multiple classes that you're getting participation attendance grades for. So you just do create blog entry and then follow the instructions from Dave in order to upload your video there. And remember not to forget to comment on the other students in your teams, on their videos, and ask them each 2 questions and answer all the questions on your post. The deadline for the video is March 30th. If you post before then and start getting questions before then, you can answer them whenever you're ready, and you can also go ahead and start asking other students who post before the deadline the questions that you come up with for that as well. That way you stagger your workload a bit more and you don't have to do it all in one sitting. But feel free, after March 30th, before the start of term 4, you can also do it all in one sitting if you prefer. Just set your timer for 90 minutes, and then you have at least one of your lessons at that point. So I hope that that is clear for you. If it is not, you can ask me in the live stream lessons that I sent you guys emails about. And if that's not doable for you, that you no longer can come during the regular class time online to have a live stream lesson, then comment on this video below your question and I will make sure to respond to. Alright, so group journals we are not really working in anymore. The information that's in group journals, I will make sure that that comes back to you guys. I will be reviewing in the next week or 2 all of the homework that has been submitted there thus far, as well as of course the incoming assignments. And I will make sure at the end of the term you guys get a progress report from me that is pretty in-depth. Okay, so now I'm going to run you guys through the module guide. Just make this a little bigger. So if you don't have your module guide open in front of you, then you can pause the video and open it yourself, or you can follow along on the screen with me, whatever your preference is. I want to take you guys to the weekly overview. So in week 1, we just introduced the whole concept of practicals for this semester, and we broke you up into your organizations and regions and discussed countries. In week 2, we decided on countries, and we did more in-depth discussions on meat consumption and the ethics of that, as well as what activities your organization is doing, in which countries they are active, and preparing for our first discussion. We had our first discussion in week 3, and now that I think about it, everybody needs to do week 4 assignment because we missed 1 week due to my illness. So just make sure that you have the classes that you did attend, that you've uploaded the homework on journals, and then make sure that if you want credit for an extra lesson that you do the longer version of the video, so weeks 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so here in week 3 we talked about what this last Thursday we talked about what panel discussions are and the kind of language that you need to use, what the format is. We assigned moderators for our next lesson, and we don't know what format the final essay will take place in, but it is possible still that we will make use of the moderators versus panelists. And if you are interested in exercising the language for moderators, go ahead and do that, even if you're not an official moderator, because we're doing it digitally. That's okay. It's good practice for you. And then we discussed how the topic would be water for the next lesson. So your week 4 assignment is focused on water, and we have those subtopics clearly listed in the module guide. And then after that, so you'll be uploading your assignment for 3 topics, weeks 4, 5, and 6, water, and then we see here air, and then land. So you can do them in whichever order you would like. Just make sure that you focus on one sustainable development goal in your organization and those different things separately. And then before we go to the next term, whether that's the back to face-to-face classes or if that's continued online, there are some assignments that you need to do. You should basically write a summary of everything you've done thus far in order to narrow down the main research points that you've come up with regarding your organization, its activities in your country, and focusing on one of the Sustainable Development Goals. Because you need to start being a bit more critical and analytical regarding the situation, because the idea of the panel discussion is that you guys are coming up with ideas for the future, future collaboration, suggestions, and how to improve the current activities and possibly add more or just to improve the current situation. Look at what they're doing, what's their goal, is it a realistic goal, and that information should be shared in term 4, lesson 1. So you can go ahead and start working on that as soon as you're ready, whenever you feel you have the time to do so. And then another thing you should do is compile a list of 15 academic vocabulary words. You can make use of them in your video. I also suggest that you either submit a document with the words you're intending on using in your video, or that you announce in the beginning of your video which academic vocabulary is new to you that you are making use of in your presentation. I'm not making this a requirement because I don't want to make it any more confusing or difficult for you, but it's just a suggestion in order to improve your grade and your overall vernacular, that you are more professional. Start practicing now so that you can improve and be more professional and academic in your final essay. The words that you should use are from chapter 9 of your textbook, and it's clearly listed in that week of the module guide, so I will show you that in a few moments. Okay, so we won't look at term 4 yet. Half of term 4 is just the exam weeks, and then the other ones are preparing for that. And we don't know what that looks like yet, so that could very well change from what's in the module guide. The rest of this section here focuses on how the class is arranged. On page 13, I believe this is, yes, page 13, you have the focus of the exam. Please keep that in mind. That will still be the focus, but the format in which the exam will take place, we don't know yet. And then I will bring you down. If you guys want those 3 topics that you're doing the video of in one kind of page, or 2 pages, page 15 and 16 you can look at, since you're doing these 3 all at the same time, water, air, and land. You can see the related topics and connected sustainable development goals right in one kind of almost one shot there. And the next topic after those 3 would be extreme weather events and natural disasters, which we will look at in term 4. Okay, so we discussed what the Sustainable Development Goals are in week 1. So if you're looking for the list of the Sustainable Development Goals, that's in the week 1 section of the module guide. And this link here, the official website, is also really nice. It's a cool website. You should check it out. Make yourself familiar with these goals. So again, if you want to see all of the goals written out, week 1 of the module guide, that section. We did the vocabulary exercise for week 2 as well. Most of you did it. I was very proud of you. Good job for that. If you want to do go back and do any of these exercises if you haven't done them yet and get feedback from me, you can post that in journals still. I will check there periodically to see if there are new posts, and I'm happy to give you feedback, not extensive feedback because the workload would increase too high, but at least kind of which track you're on or questions that you have. If you have specific questions, then I can answer those. Okay, so we're going to move on to week 2. I'm going to keep scrolling until we get to week 2. Those are all those great vocabulary words for you. This was about writing press releases. I see that my video here has gone out, so let's just try that again. Alright guys, I'm back. Alright, sorry about that. All right, so writing press releases, that was discussed then in that week. And I asked you guys to read it as homework, but we did not do it in class due to time constraints. You will, at a later point in your studies, go over press releases, and that is something worth looking at. And it might help you to understand the context of the focus of the English practicals as well if you just read through that. It's very handy, especially for those of you who really want to focus on the public sector. This might be actually both. They're both. It's relatable to both. So there are some exercises there you could do as well, and feel free to submit them to me, and I can give you some feedback. And we're going to move on to week 3. In week 3 here, you can look at the Sustainable Development Goals again. And we had an adverb adjective exercise, a couple of them. And again, you can feel free to do some of these exercises and submit them to me for feedback. Okay, and in week 3, we went through all the details of what a panel discussion entails and the kind of language that we use. So make sure to look over that, because we again, maybe closer to term 4, because we are possibly going to be making use of that in the final essay still, but don't study it for hours, because we may have to throw it away to make use of something more digitally approachable. But it's really worth looking at and making yourself familiar with. We have the section on page 55 about how to interrupt or handle interruptions, asking for clarifications, or introducing a topic. So similar to what we did in the first semester, but a bit different, a bit more focused at times. And you'll find that really useful to go through. That's why I'm showing you that. And I want to show you a couple of points here, the general point of view versus personal point of view. It's important to know the difference, as well as disagreeing with an opinion. That's sometimes it seems like that's easy to do, but to do it eloquently is difficult. So here are some phrases to help you out with that, as well as using strong, neutral, or tentative tone. You want to be careful with using strong tone, because that could come across as aggressive or biased, and you don't want to come across as either aggressive or biased. So it's important to also look at neutral tone and tentative tone. Unless you really are trying to stand firm and make a clear point, you should do so with respect, but use a strong tone. So realizing the different language, as well as the articulation that you use, and the voice volume, the pitch, the tone, that's important. And those phrases will help guide you through that. Okay, so then each week we have the related topics. The first one is water. You guys will focus on that. There's not a whole lot of information then for each week after that point. You do have here some kind of outline of what you could make notes of. I do want to give you my tip to make notes while you're watching the videos of your classmates. Make notes, because then you can ask your questions much more easily in the comment section. And then also make note of these introductory phrases and qualifiers. So using kind of hedging and making your language less direct is really useful. So I highly suggest looking through this part of the module guide as well on page 60. And then we go on to, so that's a discussion on water, and then we go on to the discussion for air. And then we go forward onto the discussion for land here. Okay, and that will bring you up to date then once you get through that week. And then we will look at the next term. This is the part I wanted to show you, that you should have 15 words, a word entry like you've done in the first semester. And for week 2, you should do that for 15 words from this list here, chapter 9 of your text, the environment. It goes through, I think, about 3 pages. So go through and try to find some words, and I highly advise for your practicing and for your overall grade that you do that in your videos as well for weeks 4, 5, and 6, that you integrate these at least 5 words per topic and make them clear at the beginning of your video, and or post a comment saying which words you're using. That's actually my preferred method because I can look through the list as I hear words, and it'll be much easier for me to grade you and give you feedback if you do that. So I highly suggest that. I'm not requiring it, but it would be good for you and good for your grade if you do that. And that's it for right now. It's already been a longer video than I intended, but I think it's important given all the confusion of what's been going on with the cancellation of classes. If you're having any trouble during this time because of COVID-19, the coronavirus, then please reach out to me. I am more than happy and willing to help you and assist you through this time. This is unprecedented for this kind of situation for all of us, and we are doing our very best to stay on top of everything for you students, and we do ask for a bit of grace and patience on some things, and ask for clear communication. When something's not clear to you, please try to look at all the content, read the module guide, read the announcements, read the emails, and if it's still not clear to you, then come to us. And if something's ever not clear, don't go to your classmates. Go to the literature, either the module guide or the announcements from your teachers, and go to your teacher to ask them the questions, because sometimes secondhand information is not accurate, and that can really cause a delay in your process of a course. And that's it. I hope to see some of you guys in the live stream tomorrow and Friday. And if nobody's in the live stream, if there are no viewers in the first 15 minutes, then I will stop streaming. And I am not planning on doing any more practicals live streams after that point. And that's it. So you just have those two chances, tomorrow and Friday. And if you miss those, then you can still reach out to me for questions. It won't be as easy to have the back and forth because it won't be live. Okay, guys. Bye. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Stay indoors. All right. Bye.